For the first time on the Water Anarchy, welcome Jabin, Jabin's Yacht Yard, right? A place that we've had the pleasure of launching from before, and the best organized, the neatest yacht yard I've ever seen in this country.
Hey, you should have come up and said something to me.
Well, I'll say it on the camera and let everyone else hear me. So welcome though, it's good to have you down here. And you have been doing really well in your, first ever class event?
First ever class event, yep.
And the only other time you raced it was maybe one race up in Annapolis?
Yeah, just in the bay. We've been trying to get tons of practice in the bay and haven't been able to get it out in over 10 knots of breeze. And,
yeah.
Certainly no lump, so down here it's a totally different animal. So it's the first time we've ever had the whole crew in planing situations and big lump situations, and we're just we're trying to figure it out.
Well, you're doing a damn good job though at the moment, aren't you?
We're hanging in there, all right, but we're still got a shitload to learn, and it's all technique and everything else, and we're working on it, just chipping away at little things and checking boxes off, and getting the kite back in the boat and not overlaying any lay lines, and figuring out your exit moves around the bottom marks. The gains are at the marks, and staying clean, and if you can do that, then you got a half decent race going. So.
And what about the differences? Obviously, a lot of people know you as the owner of Ramrod, the 440 for 6 years or a long time in the class. So what are the main differences from your point of view?
Well, the main difference is these boats are so much more lively. It's unbelievable how much more responsive these boats are to waves, to lifts and headers, and downwind is totally different than a 40. The way these things load up and plane downwind, A sails are definitely the future. There's no question about that in my mind, and to do that well takes skill and technique to do that well, and it is a blast when you're going fast and you're ripping it down there at 14 or 15 knots. It's a handful. It's a handful for the helmsman, all the way up to the bow guy, and everybody's got to hike their ass off and stay in there. So.
And if we can get some real breeze out here, then maybe you'll see it when it hits 22 on the waves.
Right. I mean, that's we'll see. It's kind of been moderate breeze, right? It hadn't really been up in the 20s or in a
well, the waves seem like they are, but
the waves seem like they are, but the pressure hadn't been, and so that'll be a whole nother learning experience for our team. And we're still learning what angle to come out on the jives, and how to really complete a jive and come out fast and clean, and we're doing the best we can. We got the best guy in the business with Gavin Brady trying to coach us the best he can, but there's plenty of times halfway through the race he's just put his hand on his head going, come on guys. So we're learning.
So what do you think about, we talked for a minute, and you've done how many Key Wests and SORCs and everything else. Almost all the fleets seem to be suffering a lot, but this class seems to continue to produce. What's the main reason for that?
Well, I think the main reason that this boat is surviving in a recession, if you will, or is recession-proof, however you want to look at it, is that it's a very interesting class from the outside looking in. If you're a prospective owner that wants to get into a boat, that wants to have a lot of fun, there's no better platform to get exciting sailing and fast sailing. And what I mean by fast sailing, it's like these boats are the future, the fast sport boat classes with A sails, very powerful spinnakers and everything else. That's the future, and it's very athletic, and it's not as intimidating as, say, a FAR 40 or something. I mean, if you were an outside looking in, you could say, hey, I can do that. Look, Jabin's in there. If he can do it, anybody can do it. Mm-hmm. And so that's how this class is. It's very welcoming in that respect. And yes, there are some very seriously talented people in this class, but it's all part of that experience that you get when you race boats at a very high level, and that's what you get in this class. But it's just a notch down from kind of the professionalism that you may find in a 40 or in a 52.
Well, that leads to the next question, which is the class is now dealing with some of the classification issues with Cat 1s and 3s, yep. Dealing with some of trying to limit the costs. Do you think that it's going to spiral out of control, or can it be controlled?
Well, I think that it's going to continue on its current course the way it has been for the last 6 or 7 years. There's always going to be controversy. There's always going to be people that are considered pros when they are ranked as amateurs, and that's how the sport has chosen to go. And I don't have an answer. I mean, it's a big problem, but I think that it's a workable issue that each class takes on. ISAF does as good a job as they can sorting out who is a pro and who is an amateur, right down to having Dobbs do interviews down here in Fort Lauderdale. I don't know what else you can do.
Do you think they're getting it right?
I think they're doing the best job they can. And I think there's always going to be controversy. And
Sure.
I think that for the spirit and the intent of the rule, I think they're getting it right.
Fair enough. What's your schedule? Obviously, having a team that works together and gets to know each other is important. Do you have a schedule set up with the same team through Worlds? Or?
Well, that's the plan. I mean, that was the goal of us, was to create a team all from Annapolis. Every person we have on our team is from Annapolis. And the reason that we went after that was so that when we knew there was going to be an opportunity to practice, we could give everybody a call and say, let's meet down in the marina at 3:30 on whatever day, see if we can get our guys out of work to go do a practice. And if we can keep that kind of continuity together and that kind of practice together, then we're going to be strong. Like I said before, it's all time in the boat and being comfortable in your position and comfortable with everybody else's ability in their position. And if we get that right, we're going to be a tough team to beat.
Well, you're on your way, obviously.
We're starting.
One completely unrelated question. Going to Worlds in Portacervo, and you see how just sort of professional and media savvy and everything that the Italian teams are. You've got a marine business, and you know this class gets a massive amount of press amongst sailors. How come you don't have a big Jabin sticker on your main?
I guess I'm just not. I'm a pretty humble guy. I'm just trying to weave my way through the class. I'm not. I never have been a big advertiser and everything else. And that's a good question. I probably should. And certainly the yard and the marinas certainly help support our whole program. And it's something I should look into.
Well, from our standpoint,
standpoint,
in pictures and for spectators, and there are increasingly more and more. I mean, thousands of people will watch this report.
Yeah.
From our standpoint, it makes it more interesting for us.
Yeah.
We know where you are.
Yeah.
The boats look better. It makes them look different, you know. And I mean, you've seen all the pictures from Italy. It's really cool. It's like NASCAR.
Oh, I know. Oh, I know. It really is. It's definitely like NASCAR, and it's something to consider for the future.
Do you, I mean, like when you're out racing, do you ever think like, you know, my family's going to see us back home, my friends are all going to see my performance on, you know, Sailing Anarchy or whatever?
No, that's not, no. I mean, I don't think that. I mean, I after the race or whatever, you know, the thought goes through my head that the guys at work will pick it up off the internet where we finished and be giving me lots of grief for getting a big double digit, but it's certainly something to consider, the advertising thing.
All right. Well, Rod, it's great to talk to you. Great to meet you finally, and welcome.
Thank you.
All right.